all you beautiful motherfuckers out there. Welcome to the Black Tower in this time of the in-between and the twilight betwixt the angles. Welcome. Alright, so I know it's been a while since I did a video. I've been thinking on that a lot. See, I don't like just putting up shit. I think that when you're going to do things like this, you need to honestly have a message, you need to have a plan. You need to have some kind of structure, something like that. So, with that being said, now all things Necronomicon part whatever, I think 6 by now. So, but before we start, I would like to give a shout out to some brothers. To Brother Sol Harakti. Man, peace and blessings upon you. Unto Lord David Asselstein, or Baron Inzu Abula Akazaj, and unto Priest of the Necro. These are my fellow brothers and fellow practitioners of Necronomicon, of both Simon tradition and any kind of tradition you can really think of. But just wanted to take a minute to say, hey guys, thank you for everything. Also, I would like to show off something. So, my dear brother, Baron Abdullah Akazaj. So he made my key, and he made it out of orgonite. Sent it to me. Waha. This thing is very powerful, very strong. Now in the sense of gifts and things, I didn't want to just, leave it there. Go a little bit further than that, and I'm going to show you another gift, okay? This one given to me by Priest of the Necro. Equally as badass. This is the Amulet of Earth. Alright, now with all the shout-outs and the awesome thank yous for all the awesome gifts, let's get on to the subject at hand. Ooh, okay. So, a little bit about what I've been doing. I've been dealing with a lot of things. Been working through a lot of things. How to always go further, deeper. Well, today's subject, what I'd like to talk about is gnosis. Okay. You might be wondering, how does gnosis fit into the Necronomicon? Quite easily, actually. So it takes gnosis to connect with something, to truly connect with it, okay? Now, for some, it's really easy to tap into it, and for others, it's a little harder. Well, for today, or this early hour of the morning, I had a few examples of gnosis, okay? Now, this is for those of you who find it quite difficult to tap into old ones, ancient ones, into the spirits of the planets, into the Dingir, into all that, okay? So, these are what I call the death of the three false existences, okay? Now, this is a form of dark gnosis, which, as we go further in there, I'll explain it a little bit better. So, the first one. What you need to do is you need to sit down, clear your mind, calm your emotions. No thought, no feeling. Okay? And then I want you to think this thought. That with no beginning has no end. In meditation, when you're thinking on this, it allows you to tap into the collective unconscious, subconscious, whatever it's called. Give me lack of words here. Only on my second cup of coffee. But let's work with this just a minute. That which has no beginning has no end. Think real hard on that. Allow any images that come to mind, any thoughts. But only think on that one thought. That which has no beginning has no end. Any kind of connections that come with it. Meaning, and here's a similar idea, is that if you were not born, your body would have never died. And if you had never died, then that means you had never been born. This weird twisting of the mind, this is what's required of the priest, of the sorcerer, of the magician, of the whatever, to be able to do these workings. Because to truly tap into these entities, these beings, these deities, these forces, these powers, you have to break the limitation of your own mind. You have to break forth the limitations of your own programming. Because all of magic is bound in the programming and reprogramming of your mind. Because in this day and age, in this society, we're raised a certain way, religious beliefs all over the place, a church on every corner. Everybody is seeking and no one is finding. That's where we come in. I'm not going to scratch at the earth hoping to find gold that isn't there. I will seek where the truth really is, and the truth is always inside us. But how do you reach that truth? Through gnosis. Now, the reason why this is called dark gnosis is because it takes you down a very delicate path, one in which you can lose your own sanity. You can lose objectiveness of what's reality and what's not reality. It's like, if you think too hard on whether or not any of these things are real or not, whether they're made up in your head or they really exist, it's a very dangerous slope. That is a form of poison. And it's a very deadly poison. It's like weed killer. Kills the weeds. Well, guess what? It can also kill the flowers. And so in your mind, you have to be very careful. You don't want to delve too deep, too hard, too fast. You want to take your time. Be adamant about it. Be steady with it and continue. Now, in some of my stuff, I refer to the 3 deaths, referring to the key, the 3 arms, okay? Well, the 3 arms, they're also equated to the 3 deaths, and the 3 deaths are also 3 forms of gnosis, which bring you to a higher or lower, deeper, or further out mindset or state of being, however you wish to look at it. So the very first one is the death of the false thought. That's why I call this the 3 false deaths, because the death of the false thought, what is that? The limiting mind. See, your mind perceives things to only be a certain way. But the certain truth of it is that all things are limitless. All things are boundless, expansive as fuck. And so when your mind tries to tell you that everything is limited or that it has to go by certain rules or this, that, or the other, it is the mind, it is the false thought. It is limiting thought. You have to destroy the limiting thought. You have to think limitless. Hence the very first meditation. That which has no beginning, has no end. And let that take you where it will. Keep a journal on it. Write on it. Study on it. Feel on it. Figure it out for yourself. The cruelest truth of all truth is that there is no one truth. And that is very cruel. Because wouldn't it be so much simpler and easier if there was one truth that could explain and describe everything and make it so much easier? And so it is cruel that there is no such thing. But it is a certain truth that gives us the strength to persevere and to go on. And we don't die from it. We don't allow it to stop us or slow us down. It is not the millstone around our neck. Instead, it is our wings. It is our spirits in flight. And so we always seek the truth. Many truths, because there is no one truth. There are many truths. And we seek them this way. And through gnosis, we are able to achieve this. And achieving this gnosis, we are better able to connect with the beings of the Necronomicon, of Il Al-Azif, of in any of the systems, the old ones, the ancient ones, any of those powers. Now, the very first one, though, like I said, because we want to stay on track here, I don't want to bore everybody, but I do want to give a little bit of detail here. Okay, so the first one, that which has no beginning, has no end. That is the death of the false thought, the limiting mind. So the limiting mind is the false thought. Okay? Okay, now the second one. That one in particular is the bottom arm of the key. The middle key, second one. That cannot die, which eternally slumbers. You be thinking, oh, you got that from H.P. Lovecraft. Gnosis is gnosis. You get your inspiration from anywhere you're able to. And this works quite well for the second one because it is the death of the false ruler. The flesh is the false ruler. This body you're walking around in is not the ruler of you. You are, or should be, the ruler of it. So let's go back to that. That cannot die, which eternally slumbers. Think on that. Clear your mind, calm your emotions. What truth does it speak of? Does it speak of a higher self inside you, of your sacred center? Do you think of otherworldly beings that are resting, awaiting their time? What do you think? What do you believe? That is dark gnosis number 2. Okay? That is the death of the false ruler. The first one was the false thought. Now it's death of the false ruler. Now let's go on to the third one. The third one is the death of the false self. The ego. Think on that one just a minute. Okay. So how is the ego the false self? Because the ego was created out of necessity. Out of a primal necessity to survive, to exist, to be. It is the part that you are least in control of at any time. And it also takes all the back clapping, handshakes, and hoorahs, and you're so great, you're so awesome, and feeds on it. And it becomes stronger. In Ganzir, when you walk the gate of death and you walk into the underworld and you have to leave your power behind, the power that they're speaking of is your egoic self. Your egoic self stays behind. So that means it has to die. But it doesn't die in the sense that you think die, like, oh, it's never there, it's never coming back, it's never whatever. No. It's just got to be removed from you. Because you remember, you had the false thought. You had the false You had the false ruler. And now you've got the false self. Because the ego is not the real you. The ego may be the strong you, may be the powerful, oh, I'm sure of myself you. But it's not the real you. The real you, the spiritual you, the sacred you, has no sense of self or other. It just is. Which is why it's so perfect. Okay? But for the meditation of the third death, but even in strange eons, even death may die. See, the ego is such a great ruler, such a great power. Nothing can touch it. And it can consume all. But it is the false self. It limits us from being greater. No matter how protective, how loving, how caring, it prevents us from exceeding, from becoming. So let's think on that even more. But even in strange eons, even death may die. And I think it's funny because I think that, you leave the egoic self in the underworld realm of death. That's where you raised it. That's where it was raised from. Was the underworld. That's where the ego comes from. It is a manifestation of a shell, hence the Klapoth and all that, and high magic and Kabbalah, tree of life. It's a realm of shells. That even in strange eons, even death may die. You meditate on it though. Clear your mind of all thoughts. Because I don't want to input shit into your head concerning it. I do wish to describe it and to explain it. But all truths come from within. And they only come from us. No matter what others try to tell you, they can guide you. They may give you hints, tips, all this other stuff. That they cannot tell you what the absolute truth of you is. The only one who can do that is you. So with that in mind, that's what I wanted to share. All things Necronomicon. This is how it all ties in to the Necronomicon. Once you have achieved the death of these three selves, the gate walkings, the callings, the evocations, the further journeying into the plains of the Igigi, into the realm of the underworld, into the old ones, you must sacrifice yourself upon the altar of self, that you may be resurrected greater than you were before. This is the alchemy of sacrifice. This is the alchemy of the soul. It's a forge of souls. I'm not saying literally go out there and hurt yourself. That's kind of stupid. That's not what I mean at all. But I would hope that anyone watching these videos and listening to me actually has enough sense or common sense that, that they would know that already. And if you don't, please, 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 please call a 1-800 helpline. Get in touch with a dear friend. Find a counselor, therapist, something. Because I wish you no ill. I wish you no harm. Not even to those of us who do this, I wish you no harm. But the truth of the matter is that change is painful. Birth is painful. Growth is painful. But nothing in life worth having doesn't have its cost. It always has a cost. But you have to weigh it out. And in so doing, I wish you all a very wonderful morning, day, night, wherever you are. Peace and blessings to you all. And until we meet again, keep that shit rocking through the universe.